A recently released Marquette Law School poll national survey has exposed the tottering weakness of the Biden administration and laid bare the doubt of the American people in the 80-year-old Democrat incumbent. The poll has demonstrated what could amount to what the pollster called a close presidential race, with former President Trump polling at 51% to President Joe Biden's 49% among registered voters. Marquette wrote, "The outcome of the election may be determined by the success of respective efforts to mobilize voters over the coming 13 months. The pollster cited that when polling likely voters instead, Biden holds the 51% result with Trump garnering 49%. However, based on the subsequent results on the issues, this can be attributed less to Biden's policies and faith in his abilities and more to hyperpartisan polarization." As summarized on X, formerly Twitter by Interactive Polls, on key issues Trump is easily and profoundly outperforming Biden. They wrote that the poll shows on the economy, Trump polls at 52%, plus 24, against Biden's 28%, on border security, he polls at 52%, plus 24, to Biden's 28%, on inflation, Trump polls at 50%, plus 23, to Biden's 27%, creating jobs, Trump leads with 49%, plus 19. To 30%, and on foreign relations, Trump 43%, plus 5, versus Biden's 38%. Biden did outpoll Trump in 3 areas, one of them only just so. On Medicare and SSA, Social Security, Biden won by a remarkably razor-thin 2-point margin of 39% to 37%, while on abortion, the Democrat polled at 43%. In an additional body blow to Biden, 77% of those polled said that the phrase "is too old to be president" describes Biden either very well or somewhat well. Breaking into the most pivotal categories, registered voters overwhelmingly held a negative view of the economy under Biden, with nearly a third at 32% considering it poor and 45% saying that it is not so good, totaling a catastrophic 77% of Americans having a negative opinion. This is particularly dire when considering the 1992 words of Democrat strategist James Carville, who warned, "It's the economy, stupid." The poll in question was taken from September 18 to 25 and composed of 868 registered voters with a plus or minus 4.4% margin of error. For likely voters, the sample was 690 with a plus or minus 4.9% margin. The study appears to have oversampled in favor of Democrats, 381 to 400, making the findings against Biden all the more dire. The poll also asked Republican-leaning voters their primary election preferences, which showed Trump with a massive 44% margin over his closest competitor Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida. Former President Trump 56%. Florida Governor DeSantis 12%. Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley 6%. Entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy 4%. Former Vice President Pence 4%. Senator Tim Scott, Republican South Carolina, 2%. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie 1%. As noted by Newsmax, Biden flips the results and leads Trump by 8 points, 53% to 45%, among those not at all enthusiastic to vote, perhaps putting the age-old emphasis on voter turnout. This led presidential campaign strategist Dick Morris to observe for the outlet that Trump was behind Biden by large margins in mail-in voting, but went on to close the gap with massive advantages with in-person and Election Day votes. Newsmax wrote in a Truth Social post Thursday, "Not only is former President Donald Trump leading President Joe Biden by 3 points among registered voters in the latest Marquette Law School poll, Trump's lead also widens when voter enthusiasm is considered.